My parents invited my sister's new BF to Christmas but told me there wasn't room for my husband of 8 years. I said, no problem. Then I stopped paying their property taxes. Turns out the county doesn't care about family drama. The phone call came on a Tuesday evening while I was making dinner. My mother's voice had that particular brightness she uses when she's about to ask for something unreasonable but wants to pretend everything is fine. Sweetheart, we need to talk about Christmas arrangements this year. I wedged the phone between my shoulder and ear, continuing to chop vegetables. Sure, Mom. What's up? Well, your sister is bringing Travis, and we're just so excited to finally meet him. She's been seeing him for what, 3 months now? Anyway, the house is going to be quite full this year. Something in her tone made me stop chopping. Okay? So we were thinking it might be easier if just you came this year. Without Daniel. We just don't have the room for everyone, and since Travis is so new to the family, we really want to make him feel welcome. I set down the knife carefully. Daniel, my husband of 8 years, wasn't welcome at Christmas because there wasn't room. But my sister Vanessa's boyfriend of 12 weeks was essential. You're saying there's no room for my husband? Don't be dramatic, honey. It's just one holiday. Daniel will understand. He's always so easygoing about these things. She was right about that. Daniel was easygoing. It's one of the reasons I married him. He'd probably shrug it off, tell me to go enjoy time with my family, maybe spend Christmas with his own parents instead. But that wasn't the point. How many people are you hosting, Mom? Well, let's see. Your father and me, Vanessa and Travis, you, and we invited Aunt Ruth and Uncle Gary. I did the math. Their house had 4 bedrooms upstairs plus the converted basement suite. My childhood bedroom alone could sleep 2 people comfortably. So 8 people total, and you're saying there's no room for a 9th? The basement needs new carpeting, so we can't use it right now. And Aunt Ruth has that bad hip, so she needs the ground floor guest room. It's just logistics, sweetheart. I thought about the property tax bill sitting in my filing cabinet. The one I'd been paying twice a year for the past 6 years. The one my parents didn't know I paid because they thought their property taxes were somehow grandfathered in from when they bought the house in 1987. My father had refinanced their house multiple times over the years, pulling out equity for various projects and investments that never quite panned out. 3 years ago, he'd missed several property tax payments during one of his business ventures, and the county had started the process toward a tax lien. My mother had called me crying, terrified they'd lose the house. I'd contacted the county, paid the back taxes plus penalties, and set up automatic payments from my account. The total came to about $8,400 annually. I never told them. I just let them believe whatever story my father had spun about working it out with the county. You still there? My mother asked. Yeah, I'm here. So you understand? It's nothing personal against Daniel. Of course, I said. No problem at all. Oh, wonderful. I knew you'd be reasonable about this. So we'll see you Christmas Eve? Actually, I need to check my schedule. I'll get back to you. After we hung up, Daniel came into the kitchen. Everything okay? You look upset. I told him about the conversation. He reacted exactly as I expected. Hey, it's fine. I can visit my folks. They've been asking anyway. It's not fine, though. Your parents have always been a little weird about prioritizing Vanessa. You've told me that. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. Don't let it ruin your holiday. But something had shifted in me during that phone call. Maybe it was a casual way my mother had dismissed 8 years of marriage as less important than a 3-month relationship. Maybe it was the assumption that I'd just accept it. Maybe it was the years of watching my parents bend over backward for Vanessa while treating my presence as optional. I went to my home office and pulled up the county tax website. I logged into my account and looked at the payment history. 6 years of payments. Nearly $50,000. Then I called the county tax office. Hi, I've been making payments on a property I don't own, and I need to stop the automatic payments. The clerk was helpful. Do you have the parcel number? I gave it to her. Okay, I see you've been making payments on behalf of Lawrence and Patricia Morrison. Are you requesting to be removed as an authorized payer? Yes, please. Done. Just so you're aware, the next payment is due January 15th. The owners will receive a notice at the property address. Perfect. Thank you. Daniel appeared in the doorway. What was that about? I explained the situation, the taxes, all of it. He stared at me. You've been paying their property taxes for 6 years and never told them? My dad's pride couldn't handle it. And my mom would have made it into this whole thing about how they didn't need my help. And now? Now I'm done helping people who don't value me. Christmas came and went. I told my mother I decided to spend the holiday with Daniel's family. She was disappointed but not enough to reconsider the invitation situation. Vanessa posted approximately 47 photos on social media of her perfect Christmas with Travis, who looked like every generic tall white guy who rose crew in college. January arrived with freezing rain and short days. On January 18th, my mother called. Did you receive some kind of notice about our house? From the county? No, why would I? We got this very confusing bill saying we owe property taxes. Your father swears he's been paying them, but the county says nothing's been paid since last June. That's weird. Have you tried calling them? Your father did. They were very rude. Said the account was delinquent, and if we don't pay by February 15th, penalties start adding up. How much is it? Over $4,000. For half a year. It's robbery. It was actually $4,200, which was exactly half of the annual tax bill. That does seem like a lot. Your father is handling it. He says there must be a mistake in their system. There was no mistake, but I let her believe what she wanted. February came. My father, it turned out, did not handle it. He spent 3 weeks trying to argue with the county that their records were wrong, that he had proof of payment from years ago, that this was all a computer error. The county was unimpressed. On February 20th, Vanessa called me. She never called me. Mom says you're some kind of accountant or whatever. Can you help them figure out this tax thing? They're freaking out. I'm a financial analyst, not an accountant. And I don't work with property taxes. But you're good with money stuff. Dad's saying he might need to take out a loan to pay this, and Mom's crying about losing the house. It's just property taxes. They just need to pay the bill. It's over $4,000, Natalie. They don't have that just sitting around. I thought about the fact that my parents had just paid for Vanessa's winter vacation to Cancun with Travis as an early birthday present. That trip cost at least $3,000. I'm sure they'll figure it out, I said. By March, the county had added penalties and interest. The bill was now $4,683. My father tried to set up a payment plan, but the county wanted the delinquent amount paid in full before they'd accept installment payments on the current year's taxes, which were due in June. My mother called again. We might need to ask for some family help with this situation. What kind of help? Well, a loan. Just temporary, until your father's investments pay out. My father had been saying his investments were about to pay out for 25 years. How much are you looking for? We need about $5,000 to get current, and then we can make payments. We were thinking you and Vanessa could each loan us $2,500. Have you asked Vanessa? Not yet. We wanted to talk to you first. What about Aunt Ruth and Uncle Gary? They were at Christmas. Couldn't they help? There was a pause. We'd rather keep this within the immediate family. Within the immediate family. The same immediate family that didn't have room for my husband at Christmas. I'll think about it, I said. I didn't think about it. Instead, I went to dinner with my college roommate, Jennifer, who I hadn't seen in months. Over sushi and sake, she asked how my family was doing. Define doing, I said, and told her the whole story. Jennifer nearly choked on her California roll. Wait. You've been paying their property taxes for 6 years and they don't even know? Didn't know. Now they're finding out the hard way. And they seriously uninvited Daniel from Christmas for some random dude your sister's been dating for 5 minutes? 3 months. But yes. She shook her head. You're nicer than me. I would have told them about the taxes just to watch their faces. That's the thing, though. I don't want to tell them. I want them to figure out how to be adults without me subsidizing their dysfunction. Jennifer raised her glass. To boundaries. Better late than never. We clinked glasses, and I felt something settle in my chest. Validation, maybe. Or just the relief of having someone confirm I wasn't losing my mind. The next morning, I got a text from Vanessa. Mom's really upset. Can you please just help them? It's not that much money for you. I stared at that text for a full 5 minutes. The assumption embedded in it was staggering. Not that much money. As if $2,500 was pocket change. As if my willingness to help should be automatic, unquestioned, endless. I typed back, it's also not that much money for you. Or for Travis, apparently. Three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, whatever. Be selfish. Selfish. The word landed like it always did when Vanessa used it, designed to make me feel small and guilty. Except this time it bounced off. Being selfish implied taking something that wasn't mine. All I was doing was keeping what I'd earned. March turned into April with agonizing slowness. I buried myself in work, took on extra projects, anything to avoid thinking about the situation. Daniel watched me carefully during this time. "You're allowed to have complicated feelings about this," he said one evening while we were making dinner together. "I don't have complicated feelings. I'm fine." He gave me a look that said he knew I was lying but wasn't going to push. "Okay. But if you want to talk about it, I'm here." The truth was, my feelings were a tangled mess. Relief mixed with guilt. Satisfaction mixed with grief. I was mourning the family I'd wanted my whole life while celebrating my freedom from the family I actually had. Both emotions felt real and contradictory. My mother tried a different approach in mid-March. She sent me a card in the mail, the kind with flowers on the front and a generic message about family inside. She'd added a handwritten note: "I know we hurt you. I wish I could take it back. We need help, but more than that, I miss my daughter. Love, Mom." I read it 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. Daniel found me staring out the kitchen window that evening. "You okay?" My mom sent a card. What kind of card? The kind that says she misses me but doesn't actually apologize or acknowledge what she did wrong. Just that she hurt me, like it was accidental. What do you want to do? That was the question, wasn't it? What did I want? For years, I'd wanted them to see me, really see me. To value me as much as they valued Vanessa. To treat my marriage with respect. To acknowledge my contributions without being asked. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to cave, to make this all go away. Fix the problem like I always do. And the other part? The other part wants to watch it burn. He didn't tell me which impulse to follow. That was one of the things I loved about him. He trusted me to know my own mind, even when I wasn't sure I did. By the end of March, my father had apparently tried every angle he could think of. He'd contacted 3 different lawyers about suing the county for wrongful collection. All 3 had told him the same thing: pay your taxes. He tried to file a homestead exemption retroactively, which wasn't how it worked. He'd even tried to claim the house was a historic property deserving special consideration, despite it being a standard 1980 split level with vinyl siding. I heard all this through Aunt Ruth, who called me one afternoon with updates delivered in hushed, scandalized tones. "Your father is making such a spectacle," she whispered. He went to the county commission meeting and tried to speak during public comment. They cut his microphone when he started yelling about corruption. He yelled at the county commission? Oh yes. Your mother was mortified. She tried to get him to leave, but he wouldn't budge until security escorted him out. I closed my eyes. My father had always had a flair for the dramatic, but this was beyond his usual theatrics. "Aunt Ruth, did my parents ever mention anything to you about their property taxes over the years?" "Well, your father always handled that sort of thing." "Why do you ask?" "Just curious." After I hung up, I pulled up the county records again. There it was, my payment history, a steady rhythm of responsibility that my father had taken credit for without ever knowing it existed. The anger that had been simmering for weeks flared hot and bright. He'd let me believe he had everything under control. He'd accepted my mother's worried phone calls back in 2019 and somehow convinced her he'd fixed it. He'd lived in that house for 6 additional years, safe from foreclosure, never knowing his daughter was the reason he still had a roof over his head. And when I needed basic respect, basic inclusion of my spouse at a family holiday, there had been no room. April arrived with cherry blossoms and a notice from the county that the Morrison property was now seriously delinquent. The penalties were increasing monthly. Total owed, $5,147. Vanessa called, angry. "Did you tell Mom and Dad you'd help them? Because they asked me for $5,000. $5,000. I don't have that kind of money. They asked me for half that amount." "What? Why do you get asked for less?" "Because they know I have it," I thought. "Because they've always assumed I exist to solve problems while you exist to be celebrated. Maybe they thought you had more since you just got back from Cancun? That was a gift. And Travis paid for half of it anyway. Can't Travis loan them the money, then? We've been dating for 6 months, Natalie. I can't ask him for $5,000. But I could be expected to loan them money while my husband wasn't welcome in their house. The math was interesting. In May, my father called me directly, which was rare. Natalie, I need to talk to you about something serious. Okay. This tax situation has gotten out of hand. The county has put a lien on the house. If we don't pay by June 30th, they're starting foreclosure procedures. That's terrible, Dad. I know we've had our differences, but I'm asking you for help. We need about $6,000 now to clear this up. 6 years of helping, I thought. $50,000 paid without acknowledgement. 8 years of marriage dismissed as less important than a 3-month relationship. That's a lot of money, I said. You're good with your finances. You and Daniel both work. Vanessa's just getting started in her career, but you're established. Established enough to pay their taxes for 6 years, apparently. Why did you stop paying the property taxes, Dad? Silence. I never stopped. There's been a clerical error. For over a year? That's a pretty big error. The system is corrupt. They're trying to steal people's homes. Or people just need to pay their bills. I raised you better than to talk to me like this. Did you? Because I remember a lot of Christmas dinners and birthdays where Vanessa got the attention and I got the lecture about being more helpful. That's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. It wasn't fair when you paid for her college while I took loans. It wasn't fair when you bought her a car for graduation while I got a card. And it wasn't fair when you uninvited my husband from Christmas because there wasn't room for him but plenty of room for Vanessa's boyfriend of 3 months. This is about Christmas? You're going to let us lose our house because of a holiday dinner? No, Dad. You're going to lose your house because you didn't pay your property taxes. I'm just not saving you from your own choices anymore. He hung up on me. Daniel asked if I was okay. I told him I was better than okay. I felt free. June 15th brought a certified letter to my parents' address. The foreclosure process would begin in 30 days if the account wasn't brought current. The new tax bill for the current year had been added to the existing delinquent balance. Total now owed, $9,247 with all the penalties and interest. My mother showed up at my house. I hadn't seen her since last Christmas. How can you do this to us? She was crying on my doorstep. Do what? Let us lose our home. Your father told me about your conversation. How can you be so cruel? Come in, Mom. She sat on my couch, the same couch she'd never seen before because she'd never visited my house. In 8 years of marriage, my parents had been to my home exactly 3 times, always briefly, always with an excuse about why they couldn't stay. I need you to understand something, I said. I've been paying your property taxes for 6 years. Her face went blank. What? When Dad got into trouble in 2019, I paid the back taxes. Then I set up automatic payments. I've paid almost $50,000 to keep your house out of foreclosure. That's not possible. Your father said. Dad didn't know. I never told either of you because I knew he wouldn't accept help. But I helped anyway because you're my parents and I loved you. Loved? Past tense? Do you know what it felt like to be told there wasn't room for my husband at Christmas? After 8 years? While you welcomed a stranger with open arms? Travis isn't a stranger, he's Vanessa's boyfriend. Daniel is my husband. He's family. But apparently, family only counts when it's convenient for you. She twisted her hands in her lap. We were just trying to make Vanessa happy. She's been through so many bad relationships. And I haven't been through anything? I just existed quietly, paid my own way, asked for nothing, and somehow that made me less worthy of consideration? It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Because from where I'm sitting, I've spent my entire adult life being the responsible one, the one who doesn't need anything, the one who fixes problems. And the moment I stopped fixing your problems, I became the villain. She couldn't answer. You can save your house, I said. You have options. You can get a home equity loan. You can ask Vanessa and her wonderful boyfriend for help. You can sell some of Dad's investment portfolio that's always about to pay out. But I'm done being the ATM you can ignore until you need a withdrawal. We never ignored you. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my photos. Here's my college graduation. You left early because Vanessa had a dance recital. Here's my wedding. You spent the whole reception talking about Vanessa's promotion. Here's the photo you didn't see from when Daniel and I bought this house because you were helping Vanessa move for the 3rd time that year. Each photo was a little wound I'd covered over, pretend it didn't hurt. We love you, my mother said weakly. You love the version of me that makes your life easier. The daughter who doesn't complain, doesn't need attention, doesn't expect to be treated as well as her sister. But I'm done being her. She left crying. I felt guilty for about 20 minutes, then Daniel reminded me that guilt was just old programming trying to reassert itself. The deadline came and went. My parents didn't pay. The county began foreclosure proceedings. Vanessa called, screaming. You could stop this. You have the money. How can you watch them lose their home? The same way they could watch me be excluded from Christmas. Easily, apparently. This is insane. Over a stupid holiday? It's not about Christmas, Vanessa. It's about 34 years of being second place. It's about watching you get everything handed to you while I worked for scraps. It's about finally accepting that no matter what I do, I'll never be the daughter they prioritize. So you're punishing them? No. I'm just not saving them. There's a difference. She threatened to never speak to me again. I told her she barely spoke to me anyway, so the loss would be minimal. In August, my parents sold the house. Not to the county, but through a regular sale. They got enough to pay off the tax lien, the foreclosure fees, and walk away with about $30,000. They moved into a small condo in a less expensive area. My father sent me an email. Subject line, I hope you're happy. The body of the email was a detailed explanation of everything they'd lost because of my selfishness. The house they'd lived in for 36 years. The neighborhood where they had friends. The garden my mother had cultivated. The space for family gatherings. I wrote back, you had space for family gatherings. You chose to exclude family from them. Actions have consequences. I'm sorry you're learning that so late in life. He didn't respond. Thanksgiving approached. My mother called with an olive branch. We'd love to have you and Daniel for Thanksgiving. Vanessa and Travis will be there. How many bedrooms does your condo have? 2. Why? Just wondering if there's room for everyone this year. Silence. Ben, that's not fair. You're right. It's not. I'll let you know about Thanksgiving. The weeks leading up to Thanksgiving were strange. I kept expecting to feel worse, to be crushed under the weight of guilt or regret. Instead, I felt oddly peaceful. Daniel noticed. You're smiling more, he observed one Saturday morning while we were having coffee on our back patio. Am I? Yeah. Even when you're not doing anything in particular. You just seem lighter. Maybe I was. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't carrying the invisible weight of my parents' problems. I wasn't mentally calculating how to help them while pretending I wasn't helping. I wasn't swallowing down hurt feelings to keep the peace. I was just existing. It felt revolutionary. My mother called twice more before Thanksgiving, each time with a slightly different approach. The first call was wistful. I remember when you were little, you loved helping me make stuffing. I thought maybe you'd want to come early and we could cook together. The memory was accurate. I had loved helping her cook. But I also remembered Vanessa getting to lick the spoon while I washed dishes. Small things, maybe, but they accumulated. I'll let you know, I repeated. The second call was more direct. Natalie, this distance between us is killing me. Your father is too proud to say it, but he misses you. We both do. Can't we move past this? Move past what, exactly, Mom? This whole situation. The taxes, the house, Christmas. All of it? You want me to move past it? Have you and Dad moved past anything? Have you examined why I might be hurt? Have you considered that maybe treating Daniel like he didn't matter was the final straw in a lifetime of small cuts? We didn't mean it that way. How did you mean it, then? She couldn't answer. Or wouldn't. Either way, the silence stretched between us until she said she had to go. 3 days before Thanksgiving, Vanessa sent a group text to me and our parents. Travis and I have an announcement to make at Thanksgiving. Everyone needs to be there. I didn't respond to the group chat, but I texted my mother privately, not coming. Have a good holiday. She called immediately. You have to come? Vanessa has big news. She can share her news with the people who are there. What do I tell her? Tell her the truth. That I have other plans. She's going to be devastated. I almost laughed. Devastated that I wouldn't be present for her announcement, but perfectly fine with Daniel being excluded from Christmas. The double standard was so blatant it was almost funny. She'll survive, I said, and hung up. Daniel and I went to that nice restaurant. We ordered duck and expensive wine and turned our phones off completely. Somewhere across town, Vanessa was probably announcing her engagement. Somewhere in a small condo, my parents were probably fielding questions about why I wasn't there. I tried to imagine the scene. My mother making excuses, my father silent and angry, Vanessa hurt but trying not to show it in front of Travis. Part of me felt bad. A larger part felt free. "Do you think you'll regret this?" Daniel asked over dessert. "Which part? Missing Thanksgiving or the whole thing?" "Any of it." I considered the question seriously. "Maybe. Probably. But I think I'd regret the alternative more. Going back to how things were, pretending everything was fine, setting myself on fire to keep them warm." He reached across the table and took my hand. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. For being stubborn and petty? For knowing your worth." Finally. That night, lying in bed, I checked my phone for the first time since dinner. 17 missed calls. 32 text messages. I scrolled through them without reading most of them. Variations on a theme: "How could you? Vanessa's heart is broken. You're being cruel. Family is supposed to be there for each other." That last one, from my mother, made me laugh out loud. Family is supposed to be there for each other. Exactly. There was one message I did read in full, from Vanessa: "I announced my engagement tonight. Travis proposed last month and I wanted to share it with the family. You weren't here. Mom made excuses, but I know you're punishing us. I don't know who you are anymore." I typed and deleted several responses. Finally, I settled on, "Congratulations on your engagement. I hope you and Travis are very happy together." She didn't respond. December arrived with cold rain and holiday decorations appearing in every store. My office started planning the annual holiday party. My boss asked if I was bringing Daniel. "Of course," I said. "Why wouldn't I?" She looked uncomfortable. "No reason. I just know sometimes the holidays are complicated with family obligations." "Not this year," I said. "This year is simple." And it was. Daniel and I bought a small tree for our living room. We decorated it with ornaments we'd collected over the years, each one marking a memory that belonged to us alone. We made plans for Christmas in Iceland, booking a hotel with a view of the northern lights. I didn't let her know. Daniel and I went to a nice restaurant instead, just the two of us. We had duck and expensive wine and didn't check our phones. Vanessa got engaged to Travis in December. My mother called to tell me the news and invite me to the engagement party. "Will there be room for Daniel?" I asked. "Of course. Why would you even ask that?" "Just checking. We have plans that weekend anyway." We didn't have plans. We made plans. We went to a cabin in the mountains and didn't tell anyone where we were. The wedding is planned for next June. I received an invitation addressed to Natalie Morrison and guest. I sent back the RSVP card with a note: "His name is Daniel. We've been married for 8 years. If you can't put his name on the invitation, we can't attend." I got a phone call from Vanessa. "Are you serious right now? You're going to miss my wedding over a fucking invitation?" "I miss being treated like a full member of this family for 34 years. I think I'll survive missing your wedding. Mom and Dad are right about you. You changed. You're bitter and vindictive." "I haven't changed. I just stopped pretending it doesn't hurt to be treated like an afterthought. You all prefer the version of me that absorbed your dismissal quietly. Sorry that woman isn't available anymore." The conversation with Vanessa stayed with me for days afterward. Bitter and vindictive. The words rattled around in my head during meetings, while I was cooking dinner, in the quiet moments before sleep. Was I bitter? Maybe. 34 years of being second choice had left a residue that didn't wash off easily. But vindictive implied I was trying to hurt them on purpose, and that wasn't quite right. I was just done protecting them from themselves. I talked about it with my therapist, Dr. Sarah Chen, who I'd started seeing in January after everything happened with Christmas. She listened to me explain the invitation situation, then asked a simple question. "What would accepting that invitation communicate to your family?" "That I'm willing to accept disrespect as long as it's wrapped in a pretty envelope." "And what does declining communicate?" "That I have standards for how I'm treated." She nodded. "And you're worried that having standards makes you bitter and vindictive?" When she put it that way, it sounded absurd. But years of conditioning didn't evaporate overnight. I'd been raised to be accommodating, flexible, understanding. Those were supposed to be virtues. Somewhere along the way, they become tools for people to walk all over me. "My sister's getting married," I said. "This is supposed to be one of those big family moments. Am I really going to miss it because of an invitation? Are you missing it because of an invitation, or are you missing it because the invitation is a symptom of a much larger pattern? I sat with that question. The invitation wasn't the problem, not really. It was everything the invitation represented. 9 years of marriage reduced to an guest. My husband, my partner, my person treated as an interchangeable plus one. When does it end? I asked. When do I stop being angry about this? When you're ready, Dr. Chen said. Anger is information. It's telling you that a boundary was violated. What you do with that information is up to you. A new invitation arrived 2 weeks later. Natalie and Daniel Morrison in proper calligraphy. I held it in my hands, feeling the weight of the expensive cardstock. Someone had paid extra for the reprint. Probably my mother, trying to smooth things over. Probably furious with me the whole time she was addressing the new envelope. Daniel found me staring at it. What are you thinking? I'm thinking this cost them money and pride. My mother hates being wrong publicly enough that she redid 200 invitations rather than admit to her friends that she got my husband's name wrong the first time. Are we going? That was the question. They met my demand. Daniel's name was on the invitation. By my own logic, we should attend. But something in me resisted. Meeting one basic requirement didn't undo years of disregard. It didn't erase Christmas. It didn't acknowledge the taxes I'd paid or the sacrifices I'd made or the lifetime of coming in second place. I don't know yet, I said. Spring arrived with the kind of perfect weather that makes you forget winter existed. Our garden came alive with tulips and daffodils. Daniel planted tomatoes in the raised beds we built together. Life felt full in a way it hadn't in years. In April, my mother called with a different tone than usual. Softer. More careful. I've been thinking a lot about what you said. About Vanessa getting preferential treatment. I waited, not trusting myself to speak. I talked to my therapist about it, she continued. I started seeing someone in February. Dr. Patricia Walsh. She specializes in family dynamics. You're seeing a therapist? Your father thinks it's unnecessary, but yes. And she asked me to make a list of all the ways I might have shown favoritism over the years. Her voice cracked slightly. It was a long list, Natalie. Longer than I wanted to admit. I sat down on the couch, my legs suddenly unsteady. I'm not calling to make excuses, she said. I just wanted you to know that I'm looking at this. Really looking at it. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry. The word I've been waiting to hear for months. Maybe for years. It should have felt triumphant. Instead, it felt sad. Why Vanessa? I asked. Why was she always the priority? My mother was quiet for a long moment. She needed more. At least, that's what I told myself. She struggled in school, struggled to make friends, struggled with confidence. You were always so capable, so self-sufficient. I thought you didn't need me the way she did. Everyone needs their mother. I know that now. Dr. Walsh said the same thing. She said children shouldn't have to earn attention by being helpless. We sat with that silence for a while. The therapist also asked me why I thought it was okay to uninvite Daniel from Christmas, she continued. I didn't have a good answer. I think I was so focused on making Vanessa happy, on supporting her new relationship, that I didn't consider what message it sent to you. It sent the message that my marriage doesn't matter. I know. And I was wrong. I was so wrong, Natalie. I felt tears starting and blinked them back. What about Dad? Your father is. Your father. He's not in therapy. He's still angry about the house situation. But he's also been forced to look at his financial decisions, his pride, all of it. Losing the house was humiliating for him. He didn't have to lose the house. He had options. I know. But he couldn't ask you for help. Not after what happened. His pride wouldn't let him. Good, I thought but didn't say. Let him sit with his pride. Let it keep him company in his smaller condo with his unpaid bills and his bruised ego. Are you and Daniel coming to the wedding? My mother asked. I haven't decided. I hope you do. But if you don't, I'll understand. Or I'll try to understand. I'm working on it. After we hung up, I sat holding my phone, feeling like the ground had shifted beneath me. An apology. Acknowledgement. Therapy. These were things I hadn't expected, hadn't even hoped for. Daniel came home from work and found me crying on the couch. What happened? Are you okay? I told him about the call. He listened, then pulled me close. How do you feel? Confused. Relieved. Still angry. All of it at once. That's fair. An apology doesn't erase what happened. No, but it's something. It's more than I expected. He kissed the top of my head. What do you want to do? About the wedding? About all of it. I thought about the question. What did I want? For so long, I'd wanted recognition, wanted to be seen, wanted to matter as much as Vanessa. Now that I had a piece of that, what was I going to do with it? I want to move forward without forgetting what happened. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. I haven't decided if we'll go. My mother calls occasionally, usually when she needs something small. Help understanding a medical bill. Advice about a financial decision. I help when I feel like it and decline when I don't. She doesn't push anymore. My father and I don't speak. Vanessa sends me updates about wedding planning that I mostly ignore. Sometimes I respond. Sometimes I don't. She's learning that my attention isn't guaranteed. People think this story is about revenge. It's not. Revenge would be if I'd sabotaged something, actively worked to hurt them. I didn't do anything except stop helping. The county doesn't care about family drama, about who was excluded from Christmas, about decades of being second choice. The county cares about property taxes being paid. When they weren't, the county followed its procedures. I didn't make my parents lose their house. I just didn't prevent the natural consequences of their choices. There's a difference. Daniel says I seem lighter now, less weighed down. He's right. Carrying other people's responsibilities while being treated as optional was exhausting. Setting it down feels like finally breathing deeply after years of shallow breaths. Would I do it differently if I could go back? Maybe I would have been honest from the start, told them I was paying the taxes, had the conversation about feeling undervalued before it reached a breaking point. But probably not. Some people don't hear you until silence is the only language left. My parents still have the $30,000 from the house sale. They could rebuild, find a new place, start fresh. What they can't do is rebuild the relationship they took for granted. That takes effort they never learned to give me. The property is owned by a young family now. They have 2 kids and a golden retriever. I drove by once and saw them putting up Christmas lights. I hope they pay their taxes on time. As for Christmas this year, Daniel and I are planning a trip to Iceland. We're going to see the northern lights, soak in hot springs, and be unavailable for family drama. There's plenty of room for both of us. Turns out that's all I ever really wanted.